everyone, Jan Heimes here from Needle, and in today's video I'm going to show you our integration of Needle into Zapier. We're extremely excited about this because Zapier is one of the biggest workflow builders out there. So in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how we are going to use Needle together with the Slack integration to allow your company to enhance productivity of your employees by allowing them to do search across all your private data. And a specific scenario could be that you want to onboard one of your employees, or you have a lot of employees that are onboarded and you have a lot of documentation and a long onboarding time, and you want to get your employees faster up to speed, make them work better, and don't buzz your other employees with a lot of questions they normally have when they start within a new company. And therefore you may want to set up a Slack bot which allows these new employees which are onboarded to ask one of the most common questions they are normally having when they get to join your company. So let's dive into it. So first of all, you can see here the page where you see the new integration into Zapier, that it's officially now part of the Zapier family. And we want to see the Zapier bot, so we are going over here to build our Zapier flow, which is also called a Zap within Zapier. So the first thing we want to do is actually to set up our trigger of our pipeline. And the trigger of our pipeline is that we want to send a message into the Slack channel. And for that we have to actually allow Zapier to be integrated with our Slack channel. And once we have done that, it's all set, so it worked very smoothly. Now we can continue, and we want to say actually what channel we want to use. And in this case I created this Zapier Needle Rack channel, and in this channel we want to use it as our kind of source which should trigger our workflow. Now we can trigger a small test and should be all good. If I send hi into it and we trigger the test again, we should see that it worked. So it's loading a bit, and now as we see message A, the message has been found, so it actually worked and it's tested well because we triggered the workflow with the message sending into the destination. Next we want to configure our Needle search tool, and what it basically does, it is we need to configure it beforehand, and therefore we need to enter the API key of Needle. So go to your Needle account, to your settings page, and then you find your Needle API key there, paste it over, and you're ready to go. Now we have set up our Needle tool within our Zapier workflow, and now we need to configure it. So we want to actually use this Celonis PQL collection, and this collection has 289 files which are describing the PQL language, which is a language that has been developed within Celonis. It's a specific language of Celonis they are developing, and the documentation is kind of part of this collection. And the search term that we want to use actually when we use the search of Needle is actually the input the user is giving when he's typing into the Slack channel. So actually when the person types into the Slack channel, the query, we want to use that query to be used for the Needle search. Next step after that, we want to set up an OpenAI tool. And in this case, we want to use the conversation as our action event. Now we need to set the OpenAPI key. Once we did that, we are all set. And we want to say actually the user message. So actually this is the message which is going to be sent to OpenAI, to ChatGPT. And what we want to do is we want to use this question, whatever the question is the user types into the Slack channel. And then we want to prompt ChatGPT that it should answer this question based on the data that is retrieved with the help of Needle from the collection. So all these PQL documentations of Celonis are inside there, and we are retrieving the right parts of all this documentation to help answer this question. So we can skip this test, and now let's go to the last step. And last step is again a Slack component, and here we want to actually send a message back to our Slack channel. So when our workflow is triggered and we get an answer from OpenAI based on our private data, we want to send back a message into our Zapier Needle Rack channel, and the message text should actually be the reply that we get back from OpenAI. Now we are basically all set for our flow, and we can skip the test. We can publish our workflow. Now our workflow is published, so we can use this workflow and actually trigger it by sending a message into our Slack channel. And we ask a question such as, what is PQL, which is like this language as that Ceylon is developed. Now this triggers the Zapier workflow and we are getting the answer. This is a very generic question, and let's try if we can see a little bit more detailed question. Let's try if we can specifically ask for the reverse method of PQL and what our PQL needlebot is answering us. So now it will retrieve the right documentation, the right parts of the documentation, which helps then OpenAI to generate a good answer, which is the idea of RAG. So in this case, you see we got the answer, and the answer is very close to the official documentation because we have retrieved the right part of this documentation and have helped to answer a question like very accurate to the real documentation without hallucinations. Additionally, let's try another question. What is actually the output type of this string hash method? It's a bit more specific question, very explicit. And let's see what it gives back. And we see here that it says the output type is actually string, which is according to the documentation also correct. Thank you very much for watching. Now you saw how you can easily integrate Needle into your Zapier workflow, allowing your chatbots or workflows to be smarter and have access to your private data. This is especially very powerful for onboarding or customer support, where you may have some internal documentation which can help a lot to answer specific questions which are not very clear and not findable through the internet, but you can add them to your Needle collection and have this bot access to it, so you can speed up the onboarding process and you can also speed up the customer support that you are having. In this case, we have used the Slack channel as our place for input and our place for output, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a Slack channel. It can be any other location too, which can be integrated into your Zapier workflow. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at support@needle-ar.com, or you can write us also a message in our Discord channel. And we are very happy to see what you are building with Needle's integration to Zapier, and see you very soon.